Good afternoon, Northwest. Welcome back to this month's edition of Husky Headlines. I'm Rylan Jara.
And I'm Scarlett Chu. We first go to Anaya to learn about an inspiring Northwest graduate.
BVNW students have aspirations to accomplish great things after high school. This is one of those students. If you don't recognize him from this picture, you may recognize him here. This is Austin Sanger, actor and 2012 BVNW graduate who recently reached out to us after getting the opportunity to film a commercial for a collaboration between Snickers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I didn't really know how big it was. I didn't realize, you never know until you film it and until it comes out. Turned out being a really good one. And that really kind of changed my life in the past, I would say, year and a half. It has gotten me a significant amount of exposure. With that, now has led to more jobs.
Sanger's love for acting and ambition to enter Hollywood started an acting class at BVNW. At school, he left a lasting impact on all of his teachers.
The acting classes back then, without those, I don't think I would be here because I didn't really have any knowledge of the industry or any of that, and taking those classes really got my feet wet, got me understanding scripts and got me understanding monologue. I just loved being an artist.
Austin Sanger was a freshman in my honors ELA class. Early on, he just was a super lively kid, always wanted to make people laugh. I think the best way that I can describe him is, he is one of those kids that needed to know you cared about him, regardless of anything. And I feel like I had a good connection with him because he knew that.
Those who knew Sanger in school are proud of his accomplishments. His goal is to inspire others by showing what can happen if one pursues their passions.
And when he made his first small appearance on a show, I remember him posting about it, and I just thought, man, that's really cool. He always said that he was going to do X, Y, and Z, and there he is.
There is probably a student just like me somewhere in this school right now who will be something bigger than they probably can imagine. And so it is possible. You need to believe in yourself, but you have to go for it. Follow your dreams, because I did.
Sanger's journey and accomplishments remind us that chasing dreams may be worthwhile. This is Anaya Zaman for Husky Headlines.
How sweet was that?
I agree. Did you hear the fun tunes in the hall last week?
I did. We go to Sophie to tell us more.
February 14th is a day full of love and appreciation. The past 9 years, the Blue Valley Northwest Choir has spread magic to every corner of the building with their Singing Valentines, and this year was no exception.
Well, I brought Singing Valentines to Blue Valley Northwest. I kind of borrowed the idea from a colleague in California and started it at my school out there where I began my career. And then when I came to Northwest, I was like, let's do some Singing Valentines. And the kids were like, what? And then it's a lot of fun. Valentines might be a mixed bag across the building, but the teachers that love it and welcome it into their room, I think it's a great day.
Whether people love it and are absolutely think that it's the best thing ever, or they just think it's funny, I think it's good either way because, we're getting choir fundraising. And all of the mashups are the really fun ones. And a lot of them we try to add comedy so that they're more enjoyable.
Before the students can sing to their peers, there are many things they have to do to prepare.
Within our classes, we organize ourselves into groups, and then each group comes up with a song or set of songs that we want to do that fits within 30 to 90 seconds. We put together the songs, cut the lyrics, come up with our own harmonies, and then perform it to students around the school when they order it.
Just have a couple rules in Singing Valentines is that it's got to be a love song, and any kind of love, friendship love, romantic love, any kind of love, but no breakup songs because choir will not break up with anyone on Valentine's Day.
With their yearly appearance, Singing Valentines is a special occasion.
This is different than most other choir events because instead of getting taught the music and learning it, we have the base melody that we learned online, and then we have to form the harmonies ourselves. So that's a bit of a learning curve when you first get started. But once you figure it out, it's mostly just making sure you've got the transitions right, practicing the harmonies, and just making it sound fun.
The choir works hard to allow students the chance to show their appreciation for others. Buying a Singing Valentine supports the choir and gives anyone the chance to spread love from classroom to classroom. This is Sophie Peterson for Husky Headlines.
Up next, we asked students what their favorite Spirit Week theme was. Here's what they said.
My favorite Spirit Week theme is White Line.
My favorite Spirit Week theme is Barbecue Dads versus Soccer Dogs.
My favorite Spirit Week theme was Decade Day.
My favorite Spirit Week theme is Pajama Day.
My favorite Spirit Week theme is Class Color Day.
My favorite Spirit Week theme is musicals because you can dress like you're in the musical. You can also be a character from the musical. It's super fun. The other one is I'm excited about Zoom Day.
My favorite theme was skiing.
Anything but a backpack day.
My favorite theme is dress up as your favorite celebrity.
You know what else you can dress up for? Sweetheart. We go to Ellie to tell us more.
Last week, Blue Valley Northwest had their annual Sweetheart Weekend dance. From decorating the dance to picking out Spirit Day themes, both staff and students worked hard to put on a successful week.
So we're trying to do a normal stuff, but add a few sprinklings in, just to really encourage people. So dress up days every day, philanthropy, really try to do philanthropy to reach out to the community and realize it's not just about Northwest, best dressed. And then obviously we're prepping for the dance and royalty, and then we're adding a few new things to try and encourage people to be more invested in Spirit Week for Sweetheart, because normally the investment goes down.
With the Super Bowl schedule, we kind of had to change everything up last minute. The assembly is going to be on Monday, so that's why we moved Class Color Day. So the current plans for Sweetheart are very different from years past. On Friday before the basketball game, we are going to have a Sweetheart Carnival involving all the different clubs, and each club is going to have a different booth that they can raise money for. The Sweetheart Carnival is going to be before the game. The dance is going to be on the 15th.
So we're just hoping to bring the community together to get people excited about the games and about the weekend, and just enjoy some time with our community.
Churchill and the other student government members picked out the theme of both the days and the dance, Tangled in Memories.
I've probably never had a group get more into decorations than I have with this group, and that's been in a long time.
A pre-decorating day for student government, in which we make all of the decorations before, so the day of the dance we can just hang them up. We really want to put everyone into the Tangled universe and the lake that Rapunzel goes on. There's going to be so much purple. We have banners of the sunflowers that she has. We have a 3D cutout of Maximus and the tower, and we have the hair that's going to go down the railing. I have a whole setup for it.
My favorite part of dances is Spirit Week and the theme days. It's just fun to see kids get excited and dress up.
Spirit Week had a strong start but was interrupted February 12th by a snow day. Overall, the week to be successful. This is Ellie Votipka for Husky Headlines.
Here's another teacher who has a variety of skills.
For this month's edition of H2 Versus, we put Julia up against veteran chemistry teacher Nanette Sula, who has announced she is retiring at the end of this year.
Welcome back to this month's edition of H2 Versus, where we put our very own H2 staff members up against our most talented students and staff. For this edition, we put our very own Julia Haney against aerobics instructor and chem teacher Nanette Sula.
I belong to a club here because I moved from Nebraska to Kansas in 1991 after I got married, and I joined a club. It was called Mademoiselle Health Club, and I would take classes, and one of the instructors there encouraged me, you seem to catch on things really well and understand the beat, and you should get certified. So I went through the training in 1993 and been certified ever since.
Mrs. Sula has always been super into fitness and fitness things. For our school, she is one of our coordinator for our health benefits. And she's taught aerobics for as long as I've known her. She'll teach an early morning class and then come in. She still beats me to school even when she does that, or she teaches in the evenings. For several years, we would have a group of teachers that would get together and do some weightlifting and some kind of, sometimes she would teach a step class to us and do some of that. Now that we've kind of grown and we have more kids and some of that, it just didn't work out for us to continue doing that. But she used to even lead groups of teachers in fitness. I have not attended any of Mrs. Sula's aerobics classes. I am not good at that. I one time have tried to do aerobics and I saw myself in the mirror and I thought, who in the world is flailing and going crazy? And then I realized that was my body. So that's just not my thing.
I have no experience in aerobics. This was my first time trying something like that. I don't play any sports. I wouldn't really consider myself a very athletic person. but I do like to work out when I can.
You don't have to be super interested into fitness to take an aerobics class.
They're all similar. For example, my step aerobics class, most of the hardest part about step aerobics is the terminology. Like we're going to do a T, we're going to do an L, and people that have never been to a class, no matter what age they are, have trouble maybe knowing what that is. So I will change the way I teach depending on the clientele of who's new, not necessarily versus whose age. If they're clientele that have come all the time to class, then I'll do harder combinations or won't spend so much time teaching the combination or teaching the steps as in let's just do them.
I definitely think that Mrs. Sula's teaching of aerobics has a positive effect on just her teaching in general. You know, she's been doing fitness classes for so long, and it's just another way to work with people and be able to command a room that I think carries over into her classroom, and I'm sure how she is in her classroom carries over into her aerobics as well.
Although Sula is an amazing aerobics instructor, she's an even better chemistry teacher.
Well, this is my 35th year teaching. My first year I taught in Omaha. I didn't teach chemistry. I taught math and physical science. And then I've been in the Blue Valley District since 1991, and I've taught chemistry and math the first year, and then ever since then I've taught chemistry only.
I have been teaching chemistry with Mrs. Sula for all 29 years that I've taught here. My relationship with Mrs. Sula in school is, you know, we work together quite a bit. We're ducking in and out of each other's rooms all the time. We've been teaching together for so long. We're kind of on the same wavelength in terms of, you know, we want to change this, we want to do this. We keep thinking that eventually it will get easier because we're not going to change things. Then every year we're like, oh, let's do it this way. Outside of school, she is one of my very best friends.
We teach very similar, so we get along with what we want to do usually. We bounce ideas off each other like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And she always has a lot of great ideas.
Although Sula enjoys her time here at Northwest, all good things must come to an end as she plans on retiring at the end of this school year.
I think it's time to retire because I can, number one. And it's time to spend more time with my husband and my family and do other things besides have to focus on work at school and work at home.
I am so excited for Mrs. Sula for her retirement. I am super sad for myself because I've just never taught without her, and it's going to be a big change for me. Probably be good for me to grow up and not have her here watching over me, but I'm super excited for her and her husband to be able to do that.
I'm very happy that she's able to retire, and I'm sad to see her go. Unfortunately, I've never had her as a teacher, so I missed that experience with her, but I'm glad I was able to meet her through her aerobics class.
Northwest will miss Sula as she retires and leaves the classroom. If you want to see her after she leaves the chemistry lab, check out her aerobics class at the Genesis Health Club in Olathe. This is Rylan Jara for Husky Headlines.
Speaking of teachers retiring, we go to Logan to tell us about another influential teacher.
Here comes your Husky!
That voice you just heard belongs to Jim McCrossan, who has been an announcer for football and boys basketball for the last 30 years. At the conclusion of school year, Northwest will be looking for a new voice of the Huskies as well as a new publications advisor, as McCrossan has decided to retire at the end of the year.
Because I'd been doing it at North, I started basketball at Northwest. So from the very first game that the boys played with football, the guy who had been announcing, I think he'd come from North. He did the first 2 seasons of football. He stopped and they asked me to start. So I've been the football announcer for 30 years.
With McCrossan being at Blue Valley Northwest since the school opened in 1993, he has always been a teacher who is willing to help others.
I would say McCrossan's teaching style is very much like he wants the students to kind of figure out what they think is the right answer. He is very much so our advisor instead of like our teacher. He is very good about letting us think creatively and come up with our own solutions to problems.
He's really good at making you passionate about journalism. My passion for journalism and why I want to pursue it professionally 100% came from Mr. McCrossan's class.
Outside of working with his publication students, McCrossan always has a close connection with staff.
I've known Mr. McCrossan since the first day I got to Northwest, so that's been 25 years ago. If it wasn't for Jim McCrossan, I wouldn't be at Blue Valley Northwest. My first week here was a disaster, and I walked into a really bad situation. And after the first 3 days, I was ready to quit. And Jim McCrossan said something to me that I hold every single day, and he said, I see something in you in the way I watch you work with kids. You're going to be good at this job. Just keep your head down and remember, it's about building relationships. I don't know if he even remembers that. But I literally would not be sitting in this chair if it weren't for Jim McCross.
His ability to create relationships all goes back to kids understanding that he cares. He is so knowledgeable about his craft. What comes out first is how much he cares about kids. And you can see that when you start to look at how many kids over the 30-some years that he's been here that he's connected with and that he's stayed connected with. And that just speaks volumes to who he is, that young people want to continue to have that relationship with him after they're no longer in his classroom. And that's just a unique talent that not all educators have.
This department, I feel like, connects well. We have a shared vision. We get along really well. And I think that that's in part with just even Mr. McCrossen's leadership as department chair. I think that he is driven. I mean, his program has won countless awards and recognitions, and they wouldn't get there unless, you know, the teacher in that position is creating high expectations.
McCrossen's unique teaching style and way with words will not soon be forgotten by those he has impacted during his time at Northwest.
I think the timing of it is good because he's been here for a really long time and he deserves to retire and go enjoy.
I'm very sad that Mr. McCrossen is retiring. I have always loved having our past editors-in-chief come back and visit the class, and just it seems so fun for them to get to visit him. And when I graduate at the end of this year, I am just so upset I won't be able to visit him anymore.
I think Mr. McCrossen brings a sense of foundation to Blue Valley Northwest. He's been here since the beginning. He's one of the, for lack of a better word, founding fathers of our school. He knows what makes us tick, he knows where we've been, and I think he's got a pretty good idea of where we're going, even though he won't be here. He's done so much for this school that people don't even know about.
When I walk out the doors in May for the last time, it'll be a lot of mixed emotion. I'll be sad to leave something that I've loved so much for 34 years, but I'll also really miss the kids.
McCrossen will always be a person to be remembered inside and outside of the walls of Room 902. All of us in publications wish him an amazing retirement. This is Logan Churchill for Husky Headlines.
We appreciate everything Sula and McCrossen have done for Northwest, and both will be deeply missed.
Our winter sports teams have also been hard at work. We go to Game Day Gordo to tell us more.
What's up, Huskies? Game Day Gordo here, your host for the afternoon. This is HSN. Starting off strong with boys basketball, on January 17th, they visited a hostile environment at Blue Valley Southwest. 50 seconds left in regulation, Dogs up 3. Southwest's Eli Mick with a game-tying 3-ball to knot things up at 45, and we head to overtime. Huskies up with under a minute to go. Trevor Garlington knocks down 2 free throws to push the lead out to 3. Other side of the court, Eli Mick again with the clutch 3-ball, and we're tied up at 52. Huskies get the ball back, and with the clock ticking down, Garlington on the drive, gets it back and hits it. Southwest with one last chance to win it, no good, and the Huskies escape with a tough win. At press time, the Huskies were 12-5 following a loss against Blue Valley West. They close out the regular season against St. James on Friday. On the girls' side, the Huskies recently dominated in an interstate matchup with Lee's Summit. Following a physical loss to Bishop Miege, they had a press time record of 9-7, good enough for 7th in 6A East. They also finished their regular season at home against the Thunder this Friday. Northwest Bowling has been rocking recently, sweeping multiple meets throughout the season. On January 31st, junior Zach Reeves threw a 684 across 3 games, breaking the previous record of 650. The boys broke the team record, knocking down 2,481 pins, outbowling the previous record by more than 300 pins.
For the girls, Central Missouri commit Bailey Kinkler has built upon a record-breaking season last year, averaging 189 pins per game. And on February 20th, the girls took home the EKL title.
Over now to boys swim. On February 8th, they swam in the EKL championships where the team finished 3rd overall. John Christensen, who recently broke the school record in the 100 backstroke, finished 1st in that event as well as the 200 freestyle. Senior Micah Churchill took 1st in the 50 freestyle and the 100 butterfly. On January 23rd, swim had their gold out meet supporting St. Jude.
BV&W junior Clayton Trisla and Blue Valley West senior Jack Punswick were celebrated as the Huskies won the meet versus Shawnee Mission South.
The state meet took place on the 20th with results not available at press time. Over to the wrestling mats now as I talk to Coach Orick in this month's edition of HSN One-on-One.
Bit of the way through the season, how would you say it's gone so far? Wrestling seasons, every year you got ups and downs. Overall, we've been developing and progressing. We've had a couple of good finishes at tournaments. Finished 4th at the Lewisburg tournament right after break, and then we finished 10th at our Husky Invitational, which is the best finish we've had in 4 years.
And then state tournament coming up here in just a couple weeks. How are you guys preparing for that?
We go about it kind of the same way, day in and day out. Just always, every day we're in the room, and our goal is to get better every day. So we'll see kind of how the dice rolls at regionals.
And any names to look out for in state? Anybody that's really looking good this year?
Obviously, looking forward to a lot of our seniors. Hopefully, having a good day at regionals. So. Parker Burke, 120, he's having a good year this year. Reed Sogstad at 138, Carter Hughes at 144, Will Ajako at 175, he's had a good year. And then some of our young guys, Blake Berry's really starting to come along. Miguel Torrealba is starting to come on. Darren Gatson's having a great year, senior campaign, and really looking for some big things from him.
The boys wrestling state meet will begin this Friday. Lastly, we head to girls wrestling. At the EKL meet on February 8th, the Huskies captured the EKL title. At that meet, there were 4 individual champions: Divya Subramoni in the 105 class, Olivia Barlows in the 110, Lucia Tabar in the 120, and Ava Pulliam in the 140. The state meet will begin on Friday. The wrestlers had a strong showing despite facing a tragedy on January 22nd when the team lost one of their own, senior Avery Kyle. In addition to being a member of the girls wrestling team, Avery was a skilled clarinet and piano player and involved herself in and out of school in multiple organizations. She would have graduated this May with the class of 2025.
The Northwest community mourns its recent loss and wishes the best for Avery's friends and family.
I spoke to another family who previously faced a difficult loss.
Many people have a personal experience that tugs at their heartstrings, but those who go through the passing of a loved one say they feel it to the core and the pain can linger for years. For senior Evie Fisher, a major loss from her childhood has changed her life.
My sister, Allie, was 3.5 when she passed away. That was in 2013. She had a seizure March of 2013, and we didn't really know what was going on, but there was just 3 months of hospital trips, and then she shortly died after, and we figured out that it was a brain tumor.
According to Kelly Fisher, Evie's mother, a documentary was recently made surrounding the caregivers of brain cancer patients and featured Evie.
It was really nice to speak about it with like a professional area and circumstance. There was 2 other girls featured in the documentary, and I got to talk to them about like their experiences, because they were also people who have had people with brain cancer in the past, and just really experienced like my grief through creativity more.
Coping with death can be difficult, but Fisher has found ways to release her grief through her activities.
I've really been able to explore my grief through like theater and acting and art. Also with grief, it's great to have these creative outlets to really channel it all into. So I take parts of my grief into every role and incorporate it and really allow it. And those characters help, pick me up, and I really just kind of form a connection with these characters that I'm playing. And also with art, I try to make some pieces in honor of Allie's memory. I'm currently drawing a photo of the both of us right now, both in fun little KU gear. It's my favorite photo of us, one of them.
Creative activities are not the only way to deal with these emotions. Kelly channels her grief into a different place.
It was like, where can we channel this grief into something productive? And so the first thing was, the Head for the Cure 5K is coming up.
Head for the Cure is a wonderful experience, and being part of Team Little Owl has been an amazing way to honor Allie and her family and Allie's memory. I'm lucky that I never personally had to experience that grief, but I have to imagine as a parent, even though it would be beyond difficult, just knowing that you have others who are there supporting, keeping Allie's spirit alive would be something that would mean a lot.
We have had sustained support, which it feels almost like there's something larger at play, because I can't understand it, but I'm very, very grateful for it.
When going through difficult times, having a supportive community can have a positive impact. This is Scarlett Chu for Husky Headlines.
The Northwest Theater community is a great way for students to express themselves. Recently, some members received a prestigious honor.
You've got to concentrate, ain't you? With 2 jobs,
I mean, I can do it as long as I don't get confused, but I do get confused easily. I don't get confused that easily. Yes, I do. I'm my own worst enemy. Stop being negative. I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic. I'll screw it up. I always do. Who screws it up? You! You're the role model for village idiots everywhere. Me? You're nothing without me, you cock up. Don't call me a cock up, you cock up.
Compared to the 2 superior rankings from last year for the Thespian Club, the 14 superior ratings this year marks a huge improvement in the program.
Thespians is a thespian honor society that's internationally recognized. Most schools have an honor troop associated with the honor society. So Blue Valley Northwest is troop 5222. And students who are inducted as members into our honor society have received 10 thespian points that are earned through extracurricular theater activities, both on stage and off stage. And once they receive 10 points, they are invited to be inducted into our honor society. 10 points equals about 10 hours of work in the theater.
There was concern after the pandemic that the program would never reach the heights it was at before.
Yeah, it's been great. I can think back to all the way back to my freshman year. When I came in, the group that was already there was pretty small. I mean, after the pandemic, theater kind of took a hit. It wasn't as popular because it's such a personal and like social art form that once the pandemic hit, it kind of took a massive hit because of that. So Wichita was for Thespian Conference, and when we went there, some people brought pieces to perform. That's where the superior ratings came from. We saw shows, went to workshops, just learned a lot of different things. Some people auditioned for scholarships and stuff like that. It's a great experience that our rep theater class primarily takes, but it's been a great experience to see.
The sky's the limit for the Thespian Club. This is Eli Dunley for Husky Headlines.
Congratulations to our talented actors.
Northwest has a very diverse community. We had an H2 staff member take us with her out of the country for this month's edition of Husky Worldwide.
6,790 miles away from Overland Park is the city of Baghdad, Iraq, home to 9 million people. In this month's edition of Husky Worldwide, we take a step into Iraqi culture.
Iraq has a very, very long history. It may be the land of Mesopotamia. It is the land where the 2 great rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. Here started the first history, first word, first writing, and the first law of civilization. A lot of people, they don't know about Iraq. Iraq is the most ancient country in the world. They don't know even its location in the map.
Iraq's extensive history and its impact on art is something that Iraqi citizens take pride in.
Iraqi art is a very, very important contribution in the whole life art because it have a lot of painters, artists, and a lot of poets that they have their inspiration from the ancient civilization.
Inspiration can come from a variety of things, but one thing is certain in this culture: family is the foundation for everything.
There are a collection of races and religions in Iraq. They form a very nice mosaic of the people. I think it's a good thing here in Iraq, as we live in a harmony for a long, long time. Family relationships is very strong here in Iraq. As I said, we live in a very big families. We stay in a bond and relations. Some of our families, they enforced to leave the country because of issues. But still, we have a good bonds within the family.
We have a very strong family bonds here in Iraq. The most important thing to each person is his family.
One thing that brings families together is food.
We have a lot of traditional Iraqi dishes. As Iraqi people, we love food. We have Iraqi kebab, we have dolma, we have masgoof, which is one of my favorite. Freshwater fish barbecued with a certain type of wood in a certain way. And that dish goes back to the Sumerian era.
The rich history, food, and culture from this country gives Iraqi citizens a sense of pride. Hasafa and Al-Sheikhli both urge people to come visit Iraq.
I feel proud that I am from Iraq. I feel proud that I am from a country with that long history. I feel proud that I am Iraqi. Iraq is a country deserves visiting once at your life at least to see the oldest cities in the world.
Come visit Iraq. See the culture, walk in the streets, get to know the people. I promise we will have a very good time.
Every country and culture is different. Take the time to explore others, such as Iraq in the future. This is Sama Salem for Husky Headlines.
That's it for this month's edition of Husky Headlines.
Have a great day, Northwest.